Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Brianna with TMDSAS, and in just a moment, we will be talking about tips and strategies for success for non-traditional applicants and reapplicants as we gear up for the upcoming cycle just around the corner, May 1st. The application opens. May 15th is the first day that submission begins. So you do have that 2-week window between when the application opens and submitting. That time is definitely encouraged for you to utilize to make sure you are thoroughly completing your application and using all of the resources available for you. I'm going to drop a link in the chat in case you haven't visited the TMDSAS homepage. Definitely do that. It's a great place to start. You'll find our application guide there. And I will actually just drop a link to that as well. This application guide takes you through the TMDSAS application section by section with important steps for filling out the application as well as some guidance. All right. And if you have some questions along the way, just wait till the end of the presentation and we can get to those questions. And like I said, my name is Brianna Beats. I'm the Senior Applicant Liaison and Resource Developer with TMDSAS. So this session is for anyone who's taken a different path, whether you're coming from military, switching careers, returning to school after taking a prolonged break, or for our reapplicants, those who are reapplying after applying in a previous cycle. So we'll take some time and explore, how your unique journey can actually become your greatest asset when applying to medical school, dental school, podiatry school, veterinary school. So let's start with non-traditional applicants. Truly, your path is your power. Not every journey follows the same route, but that's what makes yours special. So just remember that. Whether you're switching careers or returning to school or have had some, difficult or unique challenges, just remember that your path is valid and you're full of strength. You're doing it. You're applying, and you have this healthcare journey that you're on. Your experiences are diverse, and those experiences offer invaluable perspectives as you move forward into your healthcare career. It's your own story, and you belong. TMDSAS and the schools of TMDSAS value diverse experiences, and your story matters. So as you embrace your unique path, just wanted to define non-traditional applicants are usually career changers or veterans, could be students taking post-bac courses, or anyone whose path isn't exactly linear. So just want to talk a little bit about GPA trends because the trends matter more than the averages. So just keep that in mind. Upward GPA trends show growth and resilience, and those traits matter more than just a number. TMDSAS calculates over 100 GPAs. That's for your post-bac coursework, graduate coursework, not just undergrad. So those upward trends can work in your favor overall when looking at your coursework. Something that you will want to get familiar with if you're curious about where you stand currently, or how many, for example, how many non-traditional or reapplicant applicants are selected each year, you should make use of, I just dropped a link in the chat for the dashboard, the TMDSAS dashboard. There you can take a moment after this presentation to select some data points there and see how you compare. those acceptance rates and MCAT averages, for non-traditional applicants, perhaps you'll want to look at that. All right, another piece of advice for success is to tell your story thoughtfully, right? There are special sections in the application that are dedicated towards things like military service and non-traditional backgrounds. So these sections give applicants the space to really connect their diverse experiences to the healthcare field. There is a short answer applicant essay, non-traditional applicant essay, where you're able to reflect on your journey and how it's shaped your path to medicine or dentistry, podiatry, veterinary science. There's also a short answer for military applicants to speak to their experience in the military. Preparation is another point I'd like to talk about while we're here. Understanding the TMDSAS application timeline. I mean, that's very crucial. Early application submission is heavily encouraged. And remember, with TMDSAS, you are able to submit your application before your MCAT scores or letters of evaluation are submitted. So that enables you to get ahead in the cycle. You're going to want to document everything. Remember, no gaps in your chronology of activities over 3 months. So a technique for this, which I touched on the other day for our workshop about essays, but it's also applicable here, is the STAR method to describe activities. That is situation, task, action, result. STAR, situation, task, action, result. So you can think about describing your activities if you feel a little stuck there using that approach. You're also going to want to consider your letters of recommendation, right? Non-traditional applicants, it is so important that you are using relevant letters of recommendation, right? So applicants are urged to avoid reusing old letters unless absolutely necessary. So think about who can speak to your strengths and write you those letters of recommendation and start building those connections ahead of time so that you don't feel the stress of it later. Even though you can submit your application without your letters, you're going to want to have those letters lined up. Who's your letter writers, especially just considering touching base and approaching that strategically. Another tip I wanted to talk about, or point I should say, is that you have the chance to show how your experience transfers. This experience that you have while you were perhaps in the career field or starting a family, whatever your situation may be, if you had a completely unrelated job, customer service, or if you're in the military and had some sort of leadership position, you need to take advantage of that and highlight the transferable skills that the schools would be looking for. Things like empathy, communication, resilience. Just because your activities and experiences aren't all directly tied to healthcare in name, doesn't mean that you can't draw those connections and really shine in that way. Also, something to consider for those in the military or veterans, to translate your military experience into widely understandable language. So yes, emphasizing leadership and discipline and service, but just be mindful of using military jargon. You just want to highlight how your skills transfer to patient care, research, collaboration, things like that. And last but most important, thinking about your balance and support systems. Many non-traditional applicants are juggling school and work and family. So just reflect on how your support system has helped you succeed as you go to, write your essays and talk about yourself in the application. And in that same way of finding balance and support, some folks may be overcoming some academic rust and need some help getting back into the groove of studying and that continued learning journey. So some tips there would be, I know folks in the past have recommended things like audio learning, whether that's like a podcast while you're multitasking or audiobooks, lectures, things on YouTube, whatever it may be. Some folks have hired freelancers to convert lectures into study materials, but basically just focusing on your personal study efficiency and thinking about that so that you can get ahead of the game. All right, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit, although some of these factors apply across the board, whether you're reapplicant or non-traditional applicants. But I would like to talk a little bit about reapplicants and the reapplication process. Yeah, that's the right word. So reapplicants out there, welcome back to TMDSAS. We're glad you're here. And just remember that this is your opportunity to reflect, refine, and reapply stronger. You can really just treat the application like it's new. Reapplying isn't starting over, it's building better. And admissions committees look for growth, not perfection. So in considering this, you're not just using everything you did the year before and clicking submit, right? Because there isn't any update there isn't any growth visible there, right? So the application history section of the application is going to become very important to you. I'm going to drop a link in the chat to the application guide section that corresponds. So these shorter answer essays in there, the one in particular, gives you a chance to explain what's changed since your last application cycle. Do you have new grades? Have you been taking some post-bac courses? Do you have new experiences involved in new activities, research, or any insight really to what you've been involved with since last time you applied? A whole year essentially has gone by, and so you need to fill in those gaps and update the schools in order to show what you've been working on, how you've been improving in the past year. Skipping that section is a real missed opportunity. And a little bit later, I'm going to go through what the specific short answer essays are for each demographic. Okay, so you're a reapplicant, you're going into the application, and you are really optimizing every section. Update your top 3 meaningful activities. Go back to that STAR method for your essay. If you want to catch the workshop from Tuesday, it's on YouTube. I did a deep dive into essays and some strategies for success with those. You're going to want to rethink your letters of evaluation as you go to reapply. Fresh and relevant is best, and it's important to have those updated. Though it may seem like as a reapplicant you're obsessing over a single number this time around, perhaps like increasing that MCAT score, well, that is important. Think about improving in well-rounded ways, right? We talk about holistic review with the TMDSAS schools admissions committees. So think about demonstrating what kind of growth and transformation you've been taking beyond those metrics, just those numbers, right? And your timeline, also very important. Submit early and submit strategically. The earlier you submit, well, that just means that the longer the window is for the review process, the longer the schools have to review your application. And that really does lead to higher interview chances. So just consider when you're applying and being prepared, because you can apply early, but if you're haven't had time to update everything you want to update and work on your scores and your letters and all those things, then it's the point is mute, whether you're applying early or not. So just think about being prepared and looking towards a strategic submission. Last but not least, leverage your resources. If you are not familiar with TMDSAS and weren't the first time around when you went to apply, as far as like our resources go, change that this year around. Look at the dashboard. See how you try to understand where you stand in comparison to your peers that are applying. Watch the workshop series we've been doing. There are so many videos out there on isolated by every topic related to the application. And definitely read through that application guide. Read through it ahead of time, get familiar with it, and utilize it to your advantage, so that applying doesn't have to be such a stressful process. Set yourself up for success. So now here are those essay prompts there. For reapplicants, there will be a question about what have you done to strengthen your application. You have 600 characters for that. So you can start navigating your answer and putting some thought into that. I will say we have seen applicants completely miss this before. So it is important that you are accurately answering all the questions in the application, so that you're reflecting that you were a reapplicant, because you don't want to miss this section, the opportunity there to speak to these strengths that you've accumulated over the past year. There is also a question that is prompted when you answer a specific question, or a box that pops up when you answer a specific question. For those who are currently not enrolled in school, if this is applicable to you, then you will be able to answer that. And the question is, in what activities, work, research, etc., or experiences are you currently involved? So again, that's another chance beyond just your chronology of activities. It's another chance for you to speak directly to the schools and let them know what you're involved with. For our non-traditional applicants, there is an essay question there. Describe the factors that have defined you as a non-traditional candidate and how they impact your application. And you'll have 1,000 characters to answer that. As well as military experience, that question is describe how your military experience prepared you for a career in healthcare. And you can and should start preparing those answers, jotting down your thoughts, really just giving some time for you to brainstorm and reflect, so that you can answer those questions in a way that shows the schools authentically who you are and what you've been doing and what these specific situations meant to you. And just some friendly final reminders and encouragement. Resilience and readiness matter more than your starting point. Very true. If you've grown academically or personally since your last application, that growth is worth showcasing, right? That growth is essential, and really just speaks towards who you are as a person. The healthcare field needs diverse voices. Your life experience is a strength, not a setback. So hopefully, as you move forward, you can find some encouragement and know that TMDSAS is here for you. Texas Health Education Service is here for you. We're ready for your questions, and to help aid you through this process, and that you're not alone. All right, we do have a question here from Adib for the currently not enrolled in school prompt. Would that apply to people who graduated last year or in their gap year? So if you're currently not enrolled, looking at the next year ahead, because you're applying after most courses are ending in May, so you've already finished. So you're looking at, are you currently enrolled in school? It helps to think about the application deadline, the October 1st deadline. Most of the current and future, like if you're not enrolled in anything over the summer, then yes, you would not be currently enrolled. All right. That is the end of my presentation here. I'll hang around for just another minute if we have any more questions. Again, I have those links there in the chat. We have a link to the TMDSAS website, the application guide, the stats dashboard. Definitely check out that dashboard and utilize the data that's there. We have a link to the application guide, specifically the education history section, and that's where you'll find the prompt for the non-traditional applicant question. And beyond that, just check my notes and see if there are any other tips or common questions that I can address at this time. Let's see. Oh yeah, so a common question that we've received in the past is folks that were wondering how, speaking to applying early, how that submitting early affects review chances, and hopefully I touched base on it enough, but just in case I didn't. Early submission really just increases the visibility for yourself, for your application in front of the schools, and can improve that review time that the schools have to look at you, which boosts interview chances, so long as the application is well prepared. Awesome. I don't see any other questions here. So if you do think of something or are watching this after we've gone live, definitely reach out to TMDSAS. You can email us. I'll put the email in here. It's info@tmdsas.com. And once the application opens, you will be communicating with TMDSAS. Once you create a login in the application portal, then you'll have access to the instant messaging feature in the application portal for asking questions and communicating with our customer service team. All right, and the next workshop will be Tuesday, and that will be the TMDSAS preview. So that's going to be a live walkthrough and Q&A as we gear up for the cycle to open. So stay tuned for that. That'll be next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a great day.